The fourth session of the Trans-Tasman Test match, Australia versus New Zealand, and we're bringing you the men's triple. Second time that these teams have met. They met yesterday when Australia won by 21-20. Australia skipped by Chris Dudman. That's him just having his practice roll up right now. The lead is Jeff Davis. Josh Tegg plays at number 2. New Zealand's skip is Trevor Gould to the left front of your picture. And down the other end, Gary Fluid, who plays at 2, and Richard Griffiths, who will lead. Richard Griffiths in the white shirt down the far end, and Gary Fluid in the black jersey. The Trans-Tasman trophy that they play for is the Henselite Trophy, and it's currently halfway through the championship. It's all tied up, 16 points apiece. So it's as tight can be. That's Chris Dudman, the jovial character who's the skip of this Australian triple, and he's also the singles player for Australia. And New Zealand have the honour of leading off. Richard Griffiths from Canterbury is the lead for New Zealand. They've gone for a mid-length head. Trevor Rayner joins me in commentary. They had a very close game yesterday, these triples. Yes. They'll be looking for something similar, but in New Zealand's case, a slightly different result.
New Zealand led all the way yesterday and just dropped the shots on the final end to lose 21-20. Two well-matched teams.
Jeff Davis is the lead for Australia. Richard Griffiths just quietly drops the lead bowl in behind the jack, exactly where you would want it. Here's the president, Jeff Davis. And that's a lovely bowl as well.
Good opening bowls by the leads.
So the leads have done their part, playing 2 for New Zealand from Otago, Gary Fluid.
Well-weighted bowl there, just a fraction narrow.
The tall man for Australia from Tasmania, Josh Tegg. They're all trying exactly the same trick. Josh got it right. Australia 2. Fluid. Fractionally narrow. Like about 2 millimetres. He's opened things up a little bit though by moving the black bowls. Australia play with the yellow bowls, New Zealand with the black. So this has allowed Tegg to come onto the forehand. You can see he delivers standing. And looking to draw to that, right till about there, will do nicely. Not sure that was exactly the plan, but it'll do. And the skip's happy as he changes ends. Australia certainly have 2 shots, probably 3. Trevor Gould from the Upper Hutt Valley, playing with weight. Moves the kitty. So he's probably saved one there and opened things right up.
He's opened the head up and we start again.
Josh Tegg calls the shots for his skip, who's the very well performed Chris Dudman. He's just aiming to draw the jack.
Okay.
Dudman, who went down in his singles match this morning, his second singles. So the singles is tied at 1-all. Gould's draw to the jack is on the way. He's short. So Australia at the moment hold one shot. And they have the last bowl in hand, so they'll be looking to draw it for two. Or are they looking at getting rid of the New Zealand bowl and taking four? It's a possibility. Be a heck of a start.
He's opted for the draw shot.
Sorry. Shot, mate.
And that'll do. So 2 to Australia.
Start, mate.
So the Aussies get off to the flying start in the opening end. 2-0. All of these players play in another discipline in the Henselite Trophy. And in fact, all except for Chris Dudman play in the respective four for the men, the men's fours. Dudman, as I said, in the singles.
The 3 New Zealand players this morning won the second game in their men's fours to win the Australasian medals. Hopefully they'll carry this form into this afternoon's game.
Yes, each discipline plays one another 3 times, and the individual medals are decided on that best of 3. The men's 4 is ahead. The New Zealand men's 4 is ahead 2-0, so they can't be beaten for that one. The Henselite Trophy overall is calculated on wins and losses over the entire 33 matches that are played over the 3 days here at the Pukekohe Cosmopolitan Club. Back bowl being put in there by Jeff Davis. And Richard Griffiths being asked to match that, but with slightly less green and slightly less weight. Yet between that that back bowl and the kitty. Need a little bit more, please, sir. That'll do, though.
Well weighted bowl, and it's counting.
Oh, look, mate.
Josh Tegg, he's a first-timer, a debutant in the Trans-Tasman tests. That's Jeff Davis, the lead. His 2 bowls are down there. One below the jack, one above the jack. Tegg with a style that we associate more with the outdoor game than the indoor.
A very good bowl from Tegg. Pushed the New Zealand ball through, moved the kitty back, counting Australian back bowl.
Good shot, mate.
Top shot from Gary Phillip.
Exactly what was asked of him. So this is now turned into a very long end. The kitty now right back by the edge of the mat. That tends to suit the Australians, who are used to playing on a longer mat than this at home. So the long ends don't scare them. But there's not much room for error here for Teg, not long anyway. And he's drawn a beauty.
Yeah. Very good draw shot.
Yes, the Australians play on a mat a little bit longer than this. The New Zealanders at home play on a mat a little bit shorter than this. So for the Trans-Tasman competition, they have this mat that's somewhere in the middle. Oh, I love another nice shot.
Another
Go
nice
for
shot,
it.
yes.
That holds shot. Tasman will be looking to draw to the black New Zealand bowl.
Close here, old boy.
And he's pretty
Nice
near.
shot.
Played a very good ball. Toucher on the front of the kitty.
Gould looking to respond. And he's not far off either. Well,
That's good, mate. That's good.
they're playing extraordinarily accurate stuff, aren't they?
Well, for the first end coming this way, they seem to have nailed it, and very good bowls being played.
Now it has to be said that this man here is the only one of the 6 on display who's played on this mat. Played on it this morning. The others haven't, and that's actually quite relevant. Each mat plays differently. The players are telling me that this is the heaviest mat of all of them, of all of the 6 that we've got at the venue, which means that they have to play with quite different weight. They've got to give it quite a push to get it up the other end. Doesn't seem to be worrying them. They're looking to play off that New Zealand bowl.
Hurry. Good night.
Oh, that's lovely stuff. Won't be a counter, but it's very close.
Fourth, mate. That's good.
Australia may have the shot here. Hard to say. That camera is not directly above the head, so there is a slightly deceptive angle there. Trevor Gould with the last bowl of the second end. We're playing 21 ends. So a long way to go to a tight head way down the other end, looking to play off his own bowl. Didn't quite do so. Oh, he may have done it.
He may have knocked that in for shot, but one to Australia.
1 to Australia. So Australia advance another.
Maybe not. No, it was
1 to New Zealand.
1 to New Zealand. That last bowl of Trevor Gould's, which he sat the New Zealand bowl down, turned it into the counter.
And they've called a short end. So 2-1 Australia lead after 2 ends of 21. This is the men's triples at the Henselite Trophy.
Another good opener from Richard Griffiths.
Jeff Davis. He too has a very distinctive delivery style. And that's nailed the kitty.
Another good bowl from Richard. Richard is the form indoor bowler in New Zealand at the moment, having won 4 national titles in the past 3 years.
Davis playing to the shot bowl. Just wanted to clip the other side of the bowl than he did.
And just slightly narrow.
Gary Flewitt then to come in from the other side and just close the head off by blocking the kitty. Didn't quite manage it, wanted just a fraction more. Went down to here, says the skip.
Josh has been given a couple of options here. He's either resting in on the black bowl, but he's been asked to play with enough weight so that if he misses the shot he's going for, he ends up with a position bowl at the back of the head.
And he's going to take the kitty away and behind. Good bowling by Josh.
Very good bowl. It's taken those 3 New Zealand bowls out of play.
So New Zealand now playing this head with only 3 bowls effectively. Here comes the first of them from Gary Flewitt. And that's a pretty good one.
Good bowl. Very good bowl by Josh. 2 good bowls on this end.
(2-1) Australia lead New Zealand as the skips come down for the third end. Trevor Gould, the New Zealand skip. Australia, as you can see, lie 1 shot. Chris Dudman from Tasmania, the Australian skip, who's been known to pull off the miracle shot or two when an end needs saving. Oh, how about that? Draws
perfect draw.
Bang on. Well, you might clap, young man. Right, so what he's looking at there is if he plays against that yellow bowl that just came in from Dudman, where will the kitty likely to go? Will it go back to his bowl? He's hoping it will, because here we go. Playing with a little bit of weight, but he's missed it.
Just holding a little bit wide.
Make him count, mate.
So we'll never know what the kitty was going to do. So Australia hold 2 shots. Dudman has the opportunity to draw a third. To take his team to a very handy lead. It's coming in. Is it going to be in the count? It's going to be awfully close. Yes, it is going to be in the count. Australia 3. And so they go out to a 5-1 lead after 3 ends. That's a significant little break, even though it's early in the match. Australia go fairly long.
Another excellent opening bowl from Richard.
Davis on the backhand, drawing to the jack, and if it trails to his bowl that's already down there.
He's rested the bowl, very good bowl.
Griffith now to respond. It's a bit heavy. It's going over the back. And might be very handy yet. Josh Tegg, who's already looked impressive in this match, in the 3 ends that we've played. Lovely smooth release. He's down.
Very good ball.
Beautiful.
Drawn the shot.
Yep, positive right through the jack.
Very fluid then. Wanting to perhaps push the kitty through between those 2 yellow bowls.
Okay.
Just a fraction narrow. He sat the Australian bowl down, which has cut off the back bowls for New Zealand.
So Tegg here has the chance, I suspect, to close New Zealand out of this head completely. If he rests another one up in the front area there, they'll have a little fence cutting the New Zealand bowls out.
It's a little bit narrow, and there's still an opportunity here for New Zealand. But Australia in good position, holding 3 shots.
Fluid will play with a little weeny bit of weight, just hoping to run the kitty through that gap there, pick it up and go with it. Oh, well played.
Well played. That's changed the head completely.
New Zealand now lie 1. Australia still have those 2 bowls above the jack as we look at it.
They can play to press the New Zealand bowls through. Any movement of the jack, it's going sideways.
So I suspect that Dudman's target here will be the shot bowl, the New Zealand bowl that's holding shot. He's wide of that and really hasn't changed the scoring on the head at all, and left that shot still open that he was attempting. Gould has a look, and he may well play up to the front Australian bowl. That's beautiful.
Yeah, good bowl by Trevor. Leads Chris Dudman with the only option but to draw.
Well, he's thinking about nudging that. Either of those 2 bowls actually is in his mind at the moment.
He's looking at playing this, playing the yellow-black split. There's a couple of options there. If he's a little narrow, flick the kitty to the gold bowls.
Playing with weight down the middle. Advanced New Zealand, and taken out one of his own. So New Zealand probably, or they do, they hold 2.
New Zealand holding 2.
And there is a possibility of Trevor drawing a 3rd here. it's open for him. His last bowl he drew straight right to the jack, so all he's got to do is send it down the same tram line. And he's gone a fraction wide and won't count. So New Zealand 2 shots on the 4th end. And what looks like it might turn into quite a high-scoring match. 5-3 after 4. Australia are in the lead, and the numbers go in the frame from Chris Dudman. Mid-length end from New Zealand. They scored the points on the last end, so they get to roll the jack to dictate the length of the head, or initial length of the head anyway. And the lead bowl from Richard Griffiths is a good one.
Just slightly short there from Jeff Davis. But it's still in the zone as Richard Griffiths playing on his forehand.
And he just follows his first bowl. Davis being asked to play a pretty similar shot actually to that which Griffith just gave us. Slightly narrower, slightly heavier. Take the jack through with you. Just like that. And that takes those 2 New Zealand bowls completely out of this head. It'll take some sort of very strange manoeuvring of the jack for them to come into the count at all. Gary flew it.
Just a fraction heavy, but good line for the shot.
Nearly follow it down, right? Yeah, black there.
Josh Tegg.
And that's probably counting. Yeah.
Hang on, left, Gav.
Playing with real weight.
And a very well played.
On your forehand there. Through the hole. Okay.
Tegg being asked to come on the forehand and thread the needle a little bit. Things are a bit congested down that side, and he's managed to find the front bowl.
He didn't play that with any weight at all, and even if he hadn't connected with that front bowl, I suspect he would have been quite short of the head.
It was very tentative, wasn't it?
Yeah, didn't play that with any confidence. I don't think he was really clear on what was being required of him.
Gould then. His team down on the scoreboard, but holding 1 shot, now holding 2 shots. Oh, perhaps not.
He was looking for some movement on the kitty there. Got the bowl. Just 1 shot in and 1 out.
His teammates look on. Very fluid. Just feeling the cold a little bit. He's got his jersey on. Dudman then on the forehand side where the congestion is the heaviest. Just going to come inside that yellow bowl. Well played. Very well played.
His bowl followed through with the jack, and it was a good shot.
Now, if Gould can follow that and just play to the shot bowl, the yellow bowl, he's looking at that now. If I hit that, what's going to happen to the kitty? That's what they're trying to figure out, all the angle of reaction. All you folks out there who have wasted the odd evening on the pool table will know exactly the sort of thing they're talking about. So he's coming, sneaking down, sneaking forward. That's splendidly played.
Well played. That shot, perfect weight. New Zealand holding probably 2 shots.
Wow, that's just the narrowest little channel down there. So New Zealand holding 1 measure for 2. Last bowl of the 5th end coming on down now from Chris Dudman, looking to save the situation. He's gone down that same narrow channel and may well have advanced his own cause. Saved a shot anyway. I'd say New Zealand still won. And that's all, folks. That narrows the gap. We'll just have to check the official score when it goes up, but 5-4 to Australia after 5 ends. Griffiths just short of midway.
A good back bowl, right on the line.
Jeff Davis, who's got a sprinter's stance when he delivers, with his back leg thrown well back and kept straight. New Zealanders who prefer the crouched or kneeling form of delivery as they push the bowl down the mat.
Another good bowl from Richards, playing very well this game.
Now, Richard Griffiths, the national singles champion, correct?
That's right, he's won the New Zealand singles the last 2 years in succession, and he'll be trying for a 3rd title in a row at this year's Nationals in Plymouth in June.
I'm just curious why the singles champion is playing triples and 4s and not singles.
It's his debut for New Zealand, and with the accuracy of his draw, I'm sure the selectors decided that leading in the men's 4 and the men's triples would get both those teams off to an excellent start, which is what is happening here.
Josh Tegg also playing international bowls for the first time. He's got a beautiful smooth delivery. Watch this, smooth as you like. And draws to the shot bowl, smooth as you like.
One down to the front one. Pull that in.
Been impressed with all the debutants, both Australian and New Zealand, in this Test series. I think they've all measured up and played some very, very good bowls.
Well,
All have certainly justified their selections.
And that's great bowls too.
Drawing, mate.
the experienced Gary Fluitt.
You there?
He's a long way from his debut, but he's taken New Zealand to hold 2 shots now. Tig had the instructions from his leader. And just drops it in behind, a little bit further behind than I think was required.
He was trying to get between the black bowls and the jack.
Now the idea here would be to rest the jack on the near side as we're looking at it and just block things off, surround the thing, put it inside a corral of black bowls. Gary goes back. Trevor Gould goes to the mat. It's hooking in a long way on that side, but not quite that much. Each mat plays differently. Talking to players at lunchtime, and they were saying that they've played 3 matches now, and a lot of them have played them on 3 different mats, and each mat was quite different to any of the others. So they've got to adjust to the conditions every time. The speed of the mats is different. And that's way over the back. So he's happy with 2 here. Or he's reading that
I think he's expecting
Australia's option.
Dudman to attack here, and that may have just forced Chris Dudman to play a draw shot. And this is close.
very may well be one to New Zealand still. Josh Tiggs managed to block us out from that. We'll wait till the numbers go up on the scoreboard. But it was a good last bowl there from Chris Dudman. And it's probably saved his team at least 1 shot and might have dragged an extra one back.
Yeah, I don't know, Richard. We'll have to see what the score is.
The score's gone up to 5 all, so New Zealand took 1 off that. So that was good from Dudman, certainly saved his side 1. So New Zealand have done well. They've come back from 5-1 down to 5 all.
Richard Griffiths doing his job again. Bowl immediately behind the kitty.
You can't overestimate, can you, the importance of those 2 lead bowls. They set the head up right from the start, and both of these are doing very well. Looking for the yellow bowl, a little short, a little narrow. It's a matter of muscle memory now for Jeff Davis. Remember what you did the last time? Do it all over again.
He was asked to change his hand as well, and he's drawn the shot.
So we've got a bit of a split head here at the moment. The Australian bowls are the yellow bowls, the New Zealand ones are the black ones. the kitty or the shot bowl or neither.
Very nearly a top shot there, but he's got good position.
Tig.
Ooh,
Go, mate.
Given a fraction of the advantage back to New Zealand, I think.
Right in there.
It's quite interesting, actually. I don't know if you noticed, but Trevor Gould, the New Zealand skip's been down the other end in quite intense conversation with his lead, Richard Griffiths. And that wasn't the plan. He had room to draw inside, outside that bowl rather, and through the gap. Didn't do so. So now the troops are saying, what can we do here? Let's come down onto there. Knock that bowl out of the way. What about if I come off the edge of that? And that'll roll our bowl forward a little bit as well. Yes, but if you do that, it's all angles, isn't it? So I just have a run at it, says Josh. See what happens. No, we'd like it a little more controlled than that, thank you.
yeah, Skip was a little bit more control. He doesn't want to lose that bowl that's on the head, or to have the bowl which Josh is playing go through the head out of the count.
They certainly want to play that New Zealand bowl that's at 1 o'clock out of contention. It's just a matter of how. And you saw them looking at all the options, and there were 2 or 3 of them. And they're all very close to each other, so we may see him play one option when he actually meant the other here. Off the New Zealand bowl.
And he didn't really get any of them.
Didn't quite work, did it? Was wanting to move that New Zealand bowl a bit further than he did and perhaps advance the yellow. So the Kiwis have a chance to shoot that gap. Probably coming off the back Australian bowl and shunting that down the mat a little bit on the way through. That's the plan.
If Trevor gets his green right here, he'll be coming in off that bowl and sewing it up.
He's a bit
Just
narrow.
a fraction narrow.
No real damage done. And the option is still there for him, depending, of course, on what Dudman does. But he's shown his hand a little bit here. So Chris will be looking to block that off, probably.
I think with New Zealand holding shot, I will see Dudman playing fairly positively.
He'll be looking, I suspect, to advance one of those yellow bowls to the jack, and so squeeze the New Zealand bowl out. Here it comes, aiming. He's got his aim.
Yeah, well
and he
called.
squeezed the jack up. Well done.
Squeeze the jack out to the Australian bowl at the top of the screen.
So Gould with the chance to draw a shot. He does
Which
so.
He does. Trevor says thank you very much and draws a shot.
But Chris Dudman still has a bowl in hand, and he's no slug on the draw either. And if he draws to the New Zealand bowl, he could score 2 or possibly even 3 with an ounce of luck. Actually, it might be more than an ounce. It might be about 400 or 500 grams of luck, but nope, couldn't get around that. New Zealand
Very
one
nearly
shot.
1 to New Zealand. New Zealand hit the front 6-5.
And that's a very good comeback from 5-1 down. So they've scored, New Zealand have, on the last 4 ends. And they've done so with some pretty good bowls from every member of the team. This is the triple. The lead, Richard Griffiths of Canterbury. Current national singles champion. And he does what a good lead should do and puts his lead bowl just behind the jack.
It's a bit further back than he has been putting them, and I suspect that's what the discussion with the skip during the previous end was about.
So the skip's saying you're a bit more used to us when it starts to count if you're back here.
Yes, I think that's what he's saying. The Australian team has been using Richard's close bowls to stop on. He was seeing a slight change of tactics from the New Zealand team here. Yep, first bowl behind, second one on the kitty.
Swing him over, mate, if you want to.
Good leading.
Lose yourself. Through the hand there.
Jeff Davis matched Richard's first bowl. Be attempting to do the same with the second.
He's not
And
far
he
off,
has
is he?
very good bowling.
So little mirror images here. Gary Flewitt being asked to come in on the forehand side. And just tuck in behind and block out that back bowl of Australia. He's done exactly that.
You there still, mate? Black, mate. Yeah, through to there, it's okay.
Josh Tegg at 2 for Australia, been bowling very well already. A funny feeling that he may end up holding the key to this match for the Australians. He's very accurate, shooting the gap. More or less what his skip asked of him. But he's left the opportunity here for Flewitt to come through that gap on the forehand side. And just ease the jack through like that.
Good bowl from Gary, good positive bowl, and Richard's back bowl is now in the count.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the skips with a piece of chalk or something, drawing what it is they want on the mat, and then we could watch these bowls going pretty much straight down the line that the leader's asking of them. Oh, bad luck. He was asked to trail that back to where his bowl ended up and didn't quite catch the kitty the way that he wanted to. And just eased it across hard up against the New Zealand bowl. New Zealand bowls, remember, are the black ones. The Australians are the yellow. And that's not always the case. They actually tossed for that at the beginning of the test match. And Australia won the toss and chose yellow. They could just as easily have chosen black. And that really would be confusing, because I don't know about you, but with black and yellow on there, I'd naturally be going Australia, New Zealand the way it is, not to the way round. Now here's an interesting little conundrum for Chris Dudman. He'll be looking to come between the front yellow and the black bowl, playing to the jack. Through that little gap. Well played. Very well played.
Very good shot. The shot he nominated, played it exceptionally well. I suspect if New Zealand had won the toss, they would have played with the yellow bowls. Yellow bowls are a new innovation in New Zealand. It makes it a lot easier to distinguish who's holding the shots, and particularly in televised matches.
Last bowl for New Zealand on the 8th end from Trevor Gould.
Well, I suspect New Zealand's holding the shot. If he played it that short, that's a block.
The Australians don't look convinced. Or are they just saying what's touching what, and therefore if we move it, where's it going to go? They've got a back bowl here. Yes, so we play in that. That'll squeeze it out that way. And what's out to catch it out there? Our bowl will go out. And there's a New Zealand bowl down in the corner there behind Josh Tagg that might end up in the count as well. And the other alternative is just to throw away and let New Zealand have the one.
I can't see Chris Dudman throwing the bowl away.
No. It's not in his nature, that's for sure. Not while there's a challenge in front of him. Down it goes now. Disturb the jack is the idea. Oh, he might have done well.
Perfectly.
Now that's changed matters entirely. As we have a look round, we bring a candle to see if we can see the light through the two.
Could both be touching.
In which case,
it's a drawn end. End's completed and the score comes down unchanged.
Unchanged, so we don't count 1-1. We just say nothing happened.
That's right.
And I suspect that's exactly what's going to happen. The only thing that will change will be the number of ends. So after 8 ends,
6-5. Very good attempt by Dudman to get the shot there.
well, I suspect he saved one, didn't he? I'm pretty sure that New Zealand had the shot going into that.
Yes.
Griffith's lead a little closer to the jack than it was last time. Davis right on the jack.
Net over, around it.
Griffith's being asked to draw to the Australian bowl. And if he just misses that, he'll draw to the jack.
Yeah,
No problem.
Chance there, mate. You draw to here. Just wait. Yeah.
Davis being asked exactly the same thing. Draw to the New Zealand bowl. And if you just miss that, you'll draw the jack. Or you'll go over the back. And that's not a bad place to be either.
Going around the jack, Gary.
So New Zealand hold 1 after the leads. Gary Flewitt playing 2 for New Zealand. You saw the skip's indication.
Hurry now, hurry now, hurry now.
Go in there, mate. Get the jack in the beak. Comes through the gap there. But that, even that's too bad. Might pop up through, back up off that one. Wait.
Just squeeze it through, thank you. Josh Tagg. You'd have to think that the sort of shot he's being asked to play here is right down his alley.
And he's played it.
Good.
Exactly what his skip said. Off the front bowl, just to take a
Hey,
bit of the
Gary.
way off.
Catch that, turn it in, you get past it, you sit on that one.
Flewitt being asked to come round on the forehand now.
Go.
and do something fairly similar.
Yep.
And he did, somehow. We'll never know how.
He knocked the bowl at the top of the screen sideways a couple of times, and it's ended up the perfect position.
Trevor Gould's skip was very interested and blocked our shot, our view of it. Josh Tegg comes down to receive instructions and have a look at things. Go through that gap. If you're a little under, you'll knock the shot bowl, which should move the jack towards that back bowl of Australia's on the centre line. Here he comes then, Josh Tegg. Oh, it's what he was being asked to do. Didn't quite catch enough of that black bowl. It's a game of millimetres. Angles, weights.
And often that's all there is between a very good bowl and a disappointing result. Millimetres.
Gould with his team ahead, 6-5, holding shot on this end, and very nearly holding 2 shots on this end. Dudman will be looking here to play on the backhand and just move the jack through to his bowls that he's got behind the head. Like that. He plays those plant shots extraordinarily well, doesn't he, Chris Dudman? He's played them just about every head, just about every end, and almost always with a good result, like that. There's room there, though, for the New Zealanders to come through the gap.
Trevor Gould's looking at the plant on the Australian bowl and the 2 New Zealand bowls. He was just having a close look to see whether it was going to take the shot bowl. He's having another look at this.
I think he's also looking at that front New Zealand bowl, the one that's between the 2 Australians. See if there's anything to be gained from that. From this angle, it doesn't look like that's possible, but it might move the New Zealand bowl on the centre line down towards the shot. Perhaps he's looking at that. Let's see. He's playing with weight. That's why. He's good, isn't he?
That was his second option. But on these thicker mats, he would have had to play, to get the plant, I think he would have had to play with a lot more weight than what he had.
So there's only one bowl left on the mat. It's for Australia. Australians are saying they're one up and they just want to double check.
And he's conceding the shot. Conceding his bowl. Gary Floyd having a look, and 1 to Australia.
1 to Australia. 6 all then, after 9. It's a tight one, this. There's some very, very good bowls being played. Each end is changing throughout as the bowls are delivered. the advantage is swaying from one side to the other, and more often than not being decided by the skips in the last couple of bowls on the end. Australia roll a long one right down towards the maximum, and Davis pops his bowl right next to the jack. We're at the Pukekohe Cosmopolitan Club. There are 6 mats in action. Next to us we have the women's triples, and then across the room the mixed pairs, 6-bowl and 8-bowl, and the men's and women's pair all playing this afternoon. We had the 4s and the singles playing in the morning session. Each discipline has 3 matches, 1 a day, and they're playing their own little competition, so there'll be medals awarded for the champion singles, pairs, triples, etc. And then it's all counted overall to find the top nation, as that one topples off the end for Richard Griffiths.
Yeah, loose end from Griffiths.
It's a long way his worst effort of the match so far. Teg looking to draw perhaps a little closer than that.
Didn't seem to finish much at the end at that length, just held out.
Seems to me that that late hook is more of it coming on that backhand side than there is on the forehand,
Yeah,
playing in this direction.
Yes, good bowl there by Gary Flewitt, playing the big hook round, and he's come round the Australian shot bowl for second shot.
Teg being asked to pretty much rest the jack coming on the forehand side, which is I think what he was asked to do with his first bowl, but didn't come round, and this one he's only going to advance that first bowl, so he couldn't get out of that channel on that end. Has a big smile about it.
Like draw there, yeah.
Fluid goes down for a look. No, you just tell me what to do, I'll do it.
Correct, mate. Hurry now. Yep.
That'll do.
Yep. I think the skip's happy with that. Very good bowl. 2 good bowls from Gary Flewitt. Puts the pressure back on Australia.
Hurry, Chris. Great shot, mate. To you, mate.
He's deadly accurate, isn't he, Chris Dudman? Didn't take them long to discuss that particular plan. Looking to shoot that gap, move the yellow bowl.
Well, it was a good result.
Wasn't exactly the way he mapped it out in his mind, but New Zealand now holds shot. Australia have second and third, but the Kitty's pretty well protected, mainly by his own bowls. So Dudman with his last chance to change the course of this head. Let's rip with a little bit of weight and knocks the shot ball out beautifully.
It was a Dudman special, played the plant, knocked the New Zealand bowl out. Australia looked like they're holding 2 shots.
Now the Kiwis will probably play up to their own bowl there, will they? Force it through? Will that be the plan?
That's the obvious shot, and the way he's shaping, that's what Trevor Gould's going to attempt.
Danger is there is Australian back bowls. The other danger is they're already 2 down, so what the heck? Here we go. Well, he saved one. Oh no, he's done better than save one. He's taken a shot.
Yeah, the bowl fell in for shot. It very well played.
Wow, Trevor Gould.
Had to make contact with the New Zealand bowl, which he did, and he got the result.
The last shot, or the last bowl of the end. Takes shot. So New Zealand sneak ahead by 7-6 after 10 ends. We played 21 ends in the triples. And the Kiwis have gone for a short head. Now the theory is that the short head will suit the New Zealanders more than the long. The Australians play on a longer mat and tend to play longer running bowls. Because of that, New Zealanders domestically play on a shorter mat. So the theory is the shorter ends will suit the Kiwis a little bit better. Don't really know now that we're a day and a half into this championship. Don't know that that's necessarily going to hold all the time. Short end seems to be suiting Richard Griffiths.
He had a loose end last time, that was a long end. As you say, he's playing these shorter ends much better.
Davis being asked to come in round behind on the forehand side. Might be a little narrow actually. Good result, but I suspect his skip wanted a back bowl. Never mind. For now, the Australians have shot. Gives Gary Flewitt the chance to put his bowl where I think the Australians wanted theirs. No, he's short as well.
There's a danger on these mats. If you try to be too precise, you can tend to be short.
Heavy mat like this, the way goes off the bowl very, very quickly. They suddenly lose speed and hook in wildly, and what looked like it was tracking as a lovely shot suddenly ends up short and wide. The other side. Josh Tegg. Gets the bowl centred in the palm of his hand. He'll roll down the fingers. And along the mat. And settle in behind where his skip wants it. Thumbs up.
Still one down, Gary. Yeah, you can do it. You can draw that. That one's just as good.
Right, you saw what Gould wanted him to do.
He's
So
played
that's what
this-
he's done.
Oh, very good effort there by Flewitt. Actually touched the kitty, picked it up, he would have had 3 shots.
Right, now Tegg's being asked to play round behind the kitty and rest his bowl in amongst those black New Zealand bowls and take them out of contention. Surround the kitty with Australian bowls. Hasn't quite done that, but he's put up a nice little fence. The Kiwis study this one, looking for a way through. They could possibly force that gap between the two front ones.
Best option seems to be looking for the inside edge of the outside gold bowl. We're about to see.
And force through the middle.
Yes.
All right. Get the jack moving a little bit, see where it goes. Playing with weight, aiming for exactly that.
And played perfectly.
And doing something along those lines will do nicely, thank you. New Zealand now suddenly hold 4. Well, it's not the first time that Trevor Gould's played a shot very similar to that. But the draw is still open through that gap between the two golds. The shot bowler's exposed to Chris Dudman. And we've seen his ability already in this match. And he's pretty much bang on.
Just got to rub off the black bowl and slid through the head.
Hasn't changed the scoring bowls at all. Has exposed the jack a fraction more. So I suspect that Gould will be looking to block that, perhaps. He doesn't want the jack to move too much, or if it does move, he wants it to move towards our camera here. Just a gnat.
It looks like he's trying to work out what Dudman's shot will be, what options there are available. I suspect he'll just draw to the kitty and try and tuck it round.
Exactly. And surround the kitty and make Dudman choose another plan, basically. New Zealand hold 4 at the moment. New Zealand hold 5 at the
Well,
moment.
they got a little rub off there and it ended up, played the bowl perfectly, but
Now, what's the option here? The bowl that's at 5 or 6 o'clock on that overhead shot. The
from
black,
this angle here, that bowl there. If he can miss the front black bowl and get onto that yellow, he can punch the jack through the head.
punch the kitty through, come through to the New Zealand bowl that's at 5 o'clock and move the kitty forward that way towards his back bowl. There are quite a few options, none of them are easy. But this chap seems to be the expert at these plant shots. What have they worked out? Oh, I don't think he's done any good at all, actually.
He caught the edge of the short bowl at the front, and it's 5 to New Zealand.
Well, that is a terrific end for New Zealand.
Two very good bowls there from Trevor Gould, which consolidated the head, made it very difficult for Dudman to play anything at all.
Dudman bravely tried, but after 11 ends, the scoreboard clicks over to 12-6 to New Zealand. Or does it go to 11? Actually, it's gone to 11, I'm sorry. They only scored a 4 on that end. Only. That may well be decisive. Look at the 11th end when we get to the 21. New Zealand moved from 7-6 up to 11-6 up. With everyone contributing.
Yeah, you're still drawing past, Griff.
Don't know if you're aware of this, Trevor, but we've had 3 matches played on this television mat so far in the tournament. New Zealand's won all 3.
Perhaps the New Zealanders are used to television coverage don't know if they get much of it on television in Australia.
Maybe this mat just suits them better.
Could well be. Although if it's the heaviest mat, I would have thought it would have suited the Australians a little bit more. But we've seen some very tight games here.
We have, I tell you what, New Zealand's won all 3 games that we have watched. The mixed 4, the mixed pair and the men's singles, but they've all been very good games, 3 excellent matches. And we've seen some terrific bowls in all 3 matches, and this one's no different. New Zealand in the lead at the moment, thanks to that stunning 4 on the 11th end. Toppled over to make no argument about the shot bowl.
Tuck that jack in there. Sit on the yellow.
Just gently wants it to ease in there to the jack.
I think they've altered that score to 12.
It's gone back up, has it?
Yes. Just noticed on the background that the score's different. Looks like it's 12 on the scoreboard.
That bowl's pretty good.
Good to hear. We thought it was 5 when we looked at it. The scoreboard went up by 4. Perhaps somebody just didn't quite have enough fingers on their hand. Indeed, it has gone up to 12, hasn't it?
Good bowls here. It's changed every bowl's changed the position on the head.
So the ideal result for New Zealand would be to move that shot bowl, the gold Australian bowl, without moving the kitty too far. Leave it where it is. And New Zealand would hold 3 and possibly even 4. And that's the ideal result. Not a bad way of going about it.
The way that head's set up now, if Chris Dudman plays through the front New Zealand bowl, he may well get 1, but the kitty's going over to where that New Zealand bowl at the top of the screen is. And it won't be going back to the 3 gold bowls on the right.
He's still looking like he wants to shoot that gap. So he's going to take a bit of a chance on it by the look of it. With weight.
And he's...
And exactly as you said, Trevor, it won't go back to those back bowls. And he's left New Zealand with 2 shots here. And that was not the cunning plan that Chris Dudman had in his mind when he went to the mat then.
It shot out a little bit further than he thought it would. He expected it to sort of stay on that New Zealand bowl by the gold bowl and only be 1 down and give himself an opportunity to do something with his last bowl. But it's ended up in a good place for New Zealand. Trevor Gould playing a block.
So that's blocked the shot onto the shot bowl from the forehand side, but where Teg's foot is there, he can come down that side, take the shot bowl, then what happens to the kitty is what they're trying to figure out now. Can they make it spring back towards the gold bowl on the centre line? 6 o'clock as we're looking at it.
The angles as we're looking at it, it looks like it could spring to the Australian bowl, which was at the bottom of the screen.
Well, the last bowl,
About
the
to see,
12th
he's
end.
playing that hand. That's the shot he's playing for. He's knocked one New Zealand bowl out. It's the only one shot.
Yeah, mate.
New Zealand score 1 on the 12th end, as Chris Dudman saves them a shot, and into his book goes New Zealand 13 and Australia 6. Richard Griffiths with the kitty reasonably short for the 13th end. 13th end of 21. New Zealand with a nice comfortable lead of 13 to 6. And the lead bowl 6 inches behind the jack on the centre line. It's a little bit of a shotgun approach by the Leeds. 2 up, 2 down. There's another short one. They must be playing uphill, are they?
Just being a little bit tentative and trying to dead draw, not looking for any movement on the jack.
Josh Ted comes in and
Draws the shot, 2 to Australia.
there's a line up here, isn't there?
Yeah, there's no bowls to work on here. It's got to be precise drawing.
And that is precise.
And that is precise. Back toucher.
Applause from the gathered spectators, who have been treated to some very good bowls on this mat over the first 2 days of this 3-day Henselite Trophy Test match. Teague again. He's gone long and joined the line.
He got a little bit wide for the weight. He was trying to be positive and move the New Zealand bowl. And with the extra weight, it just didn't turn in time. New Zealand need to seal off the back of this head now.
Well, the head's developed a look of a, there's a look of a bus queue to it. Everybody lined up. Don't think these two are in total agreement with how they should go about the rest of it. Richard Griffiths quite wisely just stays out of the conversation. Now, is that a blocking shot? Or
That's a blocking shot to stop Chris Dudman coming down, and there was a little sort of a split shot on the two New Zealand bowls which could have given Australia 3. That option's been reduced and forced Dudman onto the other hand.
And he joins the queue.
Well, I'm not quite sure what he was trying to do there. I suspect he was trying to reach up to the New Zealand shot bowl on that hand and played an uncharacteristically poor bowl.
Now,
So
the block shot's on the other side.
Trevor Gould has attempted to block on the other hand.
Right, now the challenge is ahead of Chris Dudman. There's a sensational plant shot on here. Just belt the top one and watch all the dominoes fall.
Yeah, Kitty would fly a little bit, I think, if he hit it that hard. But that's what they're looking at. It's what Josh Tegg's looking at.
He's saying it'll all come out that way. Be a brave shot. They're a shot down. They're one shot down now. Now remember, there's 7 down on the scoreboard. They're down by 13 to 6. They've probably got to try something here. This is end 13 of 21.
All 3 Australian team members now involved in the discussion.
Well, see, I think that's good. There's an odd number in the committee. You're going to get a decision, aren't you?
I think that Chris Dudman will decide. And yeah, he's looking for the shot which Josh Tegg's called. Playing up through those 2 front yellow bowls. No. Drawing.
He's going to draw to the kitty. Not quite. So New Zealand, we assume, one shot. Yes, indeed. So 1 to New Zealand. Increases the lead to 14-6. 13 ends are complete. That's a very handy lead. 8 shots.
With 8 ends to play.
Australia need multiples, and they need a multiple pretty quickly, I think. They'll want a 3 or a 4 as soon as they can. The other thing they'll want to do is just score, because they haven't actually scored since the 9th end.
Well done, Griff.
New Zealand scored a 5 on the 11th end, and it's that which the Aussies have to try and nullify here. They've got to try and spring that back, because up until then it was a very even match.
Yeah, mate.
So even if they take 2 ends to do it and do it in a 2 and a 3 or something, they just need to try and battle that 5 back. Get the scoreboard under control.
Very difficult to score 5, Richard, when the opposition lead, in this case Richard Griffiths, is nailing the jack virtually every end with his first or second bowl.
If the job was easy, Trevor,
Going up to the yellows.
everybody would be doing it.
Reach that one. Then that's fine.
These are the elite players of both countries at indoor bowls.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, just mixing the shots up, New Zealand. Putting Australia on the back foot. Again.
It's pretty near. I just caught a glimpse in the background of
Yeah, Gary, either hand.
Dave Edgar, the New Zealand team manager. It's a heck of a job being a team manager at an event like this, because you've got to try and keep your eye on half a dozen games going on at the same time. So your neck gets like a universal joint as it swivels around trying to look for shots like that on all these different mats. That's a great shot by Gary Flewitt.
Just tightened it up yet more. I suspect Dave Edgar was just letting the New Zealand team know how the other teams were going. The other 5 matches being played this round.
The other matches out there at the moment. The mixed pairs, both 8-ball and 6-ball. The women's and men's pairs. And the women's triples.
Good chance here for Josh Tegg to change this head around.
He's playing with weight.
And New Zealand are left with 1 shot. Just a fraction narrow with what he was attempting, but he's got a good result for Australia and changed the position considerably.
Gould will be looking to play up to that Australian shot bowl, which is the one at the front there, just like that.
He's used it very well. Trevor's playing very well now.
He's in the groove, as they say.
He's in the groove, and he's tying the head up nearly every end.
And with that advantage that they have on the scoreboard, New Zealand looking in a very strong position. Australia may be getting close to very concerned. I hesitate to use the word panic, but the number of ends left is steadily decreasing, and the New Zealand lead is steadily increasing. Looking for the split. He's played it pretty well.
Played it very well. That was another good Dudman special. Loves playing those bowls onto shots.
Gould's no slug at it either, and there's an opportunity to do something similar using the Australian bowl that's to the left of the head as he's going to look at it from the mat.
He's having a good look at this. He's got a couple of options. One to play that Australian bowl through onto the New Zealand bowl. The other one is to play that shot he's looking at there, coming in off that Australian bowl and picking up the kitty and taking it through to the New Zealand bowls. He's looking at using that.
So if I'm narrow, I come off that New Zealand bowl. What happens then? We end up there. It's not too bad. Okay. All the options being worked through here. You reckon it's worth it? Yeah, I do. Okay, let's have a go.
Coming off that Australian bowl is probably the safest option. That's the one he's going for.
Playing very well at the moment, Trevor Gould. He's a little bit narrow on that, and slides under the head.
Got over top of that one a little bit. He didn't. And not a good bowl from him.
And yes, a little bit of anger at himself. So Australia, do they hold one? Do New Zealand hold one? Not really sure. Hard to tell from that angle.
It's hard to tell from the angle. It could well have one. New Zealand could well have one, but it's hard to say. Australia are looking for more than one. They've got an opportunity here if they can just squeeze the kitty to the top of the screen.
They need a multiple badly, do Australia. I tell you what, at the third end, Australia led 5-1. They've only advanced that in the last 10 ends by one.
And he's given the shot away, I suspect.
New Zealand could even have two here. No, one.
One to New
One
Zealand.
to New Zealand. New Zealand 15, Australia 6. After 3 ends, it was Australia 5, New Zealand 1. So New Zealand have added 14 shots, while Australia have added 1. That's pretty comprehensive. And there's danger here that New Zealand will run away with this match completely. Their dominance is pretty near complete. And one of the major reasons is because of leading like that from Richard Griffiths. His leading, Gary Flewett's compounding of the head, and then Trevor Gould, the skip, coming in and finishing off beautifully. You see, Jeff Davis has been leading pretty well as well. There's nothing untypical about those two lead bowls. But this man's play in particular. Has he picked up the kitty? Yes, he has. And that's good play too from Jeff Davis.
Jeff Davis was in the zone there, just a fraction narrow, didn't get quite the result, but still in the area.
Gary Flewett being asked to play up to that yellow Australian bowl.
And this is where the difference has been in this game. And Flewett has invariably sewn up the head with his first bowl.
A satisfied look to the body language of Gary Flewett there.
You sort of take that.
That's my effort, your shot. Josh Tegg, who started off very strongly in this match, but has fallen away just a little bit under the pressure that's been put on him by Gary Flewett.
Having said that, he played a very good bowl there. He's either reduced the count, yes, he's reduced the count to 1. Trevor Gould signalling the shot to New Zealand.
Force that front gap, would that be the option here?
I don't think New Zealand will be taking too many risks here, although they're playing positively. Yeah, I think Trevor Gould's asking Gary Flewett to put a bowl around the back of the head.
Let's put a catcher in.
Let Australia play the aggressive shots we're holding at the moment. And that's exactly what he does.
Go and drop it somewhere near the box there. Interestingly, Australia want to do much the same thing. So
I think he's having a bob both ways here, Richard. He's If he misses, he gets the back bowl. If he gets the edge, he may squeeze the kitty for shot. He's got the position bowl, and he rocked the kitty, so they have loosened the head up slightly.
Set it up now for the skips to come down and put the finishing touches.
New Zealand's still holding. Trevor Gould looking at probably playing a back bowl here.
Yeah, so he's saying that's what the Australians will want to do, play onto that. Just very similar to what Teg did before.
I think Gary Flewitt's asking him to mix the head up so that New Zealand have got a bowl on that side of the head. Just playing the board. Very good bowl.
Oh, now he's moved that Australian bowl in just a fraction closer. That might have changed the count. Ooh.
Yeah, it may have, but I think he'd be much happier with the position. There was a danger, I think Gary thought there was a danger of the New Zealand bowls disappearing off the head.
Still coming on the backhand side. You could see his intention, and it was very, very close to coming off, wasn't it?
Yeah, very, very close.
He's taken one of the New Zealand bowls out of contention. He's opened the head a little bit too. That's the look they'll get from the mat.
Well, New Zealand's got the back of the head covered, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Gould doesn't put a New Zealand bowl into that gap between the two Australian bowls. Looks easy from here.
It is easy from here. Whole game's easy from here. Bit harder from down there though. When you've got the bowl in your hand and the head up front squeezes the gap. Oh, that's terrific. It's not the first time he's played a shot like that either today.
And that's reduced the options. And Chris Dudman can play a similar shot now and replace a New Zealand bowl. Wouldn't be wanting any movement on the kitty. It was a case of New Zealand playing the Australian shot before they played it.
Dudman, last bowl of the 15th end. Looking to see if he can get the Australian scoreboard moving again. He'll need to move that New Zealand shot bowl.
And
he's done so.
Three shots.
3 shots Australia.
3, mate.
1, 2, 3.
Well done, mate.
Excellent play from their skip, Chris Dudman. Well, don't scratch your head, Chris. You done good. 15-9 then, after 15 ends. And what was looking like a dire position for Australia has improved considerably. They've gone for a longer end. If they can have another 2 or 3 point end, the complexion of this match will change.
Very good opener from Jeff Davis, the Australian lead.
Richard Griffiths, whose leading has been exemplary. Not quite as comfortable on these long ends as he is on the shorter ones.
The last time they played a long end, he struggled. But he's certainly not this end. That's a good bowl.
Jeff Davis puts one over the back.
Yep, good bowl in the square there from Jeff.
And Griffiths being asked to respond in kind. His aim will be to leave his bowl between the kitty and the yellow one that Davis has just put down there. And he's going to be there or thereabouts. Perhaps wanted, ideally, a fraction more weight on that.
One more roll of the bowl would have made it perfect.
The old South American bowl, one more revolution. That's good.
Great shot, Mike.
Yeah, top shot from Josh Tegg.
Can't do better than that.
Good here, mate. Good there.
Fluid, who's been playing extraordinarily well over the last 8 or 10 ends. Well,
And that's a very good bowl.
it's almost as good as Josh's, isn't it?
He just held a little bit on that hand. His weight was excellent.
This is setting up as a very interesting looking head. There's the trophy that they're playing for, the Henselite trophy in the background. Josh Tegg's been down and surveyed the options. And he's just come through the head with a bit more weight than I think anybody wanted.
Yeah, got one.
And it's probably shot to New Zealand, looking at that, although it's very close. Very tightly packed head. Now
Gary Fluid just been asked to draw position here, so I suspect that New Zealand might have the shot, but just building the head here to mix it up.
so again, we're wanting a New Zealand bowl down this side somewhere. I suspect he wanted it between those two Australians, but
He didn't hook, he got a little bit wide and it held. Weight was good.
so the Australian options, they'll probably be looking to draw in between those two New Zealand bowls and just upset them a little bit, although it's a bit of a hook to get in there.
All right.
New Zealanders have the advantage of the last bowl on this end. And the way the skips have been playing, you'd have to think that is a genuine advantage to New Zealand. The plant again, 2 to Australia.
Very good bowl.
It's not bad, mate.
There's a predictability almost about Chris Dudman when he gets into that plant situation. He's deadly accurate and he reads the angles that the bowlers are going to react on extremely well.
Regarded by the Australians generally as their best male player. Been on the scene for a while now and always a fierce competitor.
What else would you expect from an Australian? But fierce competitiveness. Now New Zealand with a similar sort of a shot.
And may have reduced the count here.
Wobbled it.
Very close, having a very good look at this.
Could well be both touching. It's extremely possible. We're all down for a shufty. What do you think, Jeff? Oh, I don't know, boss.
Jeff Davis, a very experienced player. Australian skip looking for his input. That gives us, it looks like they're both touching there.
Does indeed. We've already had a drawn end with a bowl from each team touching. Any sort of a wobble of the New Zealand bowl will be good for Australia. Coming down the forehand side, looking to shift that New Zealand bowl just a fraction, didn't quite get it.
Yeah, just a fraction wide.
So we're just all having a wee look here just to check that they are both touching.
If they're both touching, even if New Zealand's one down, I suspect they may not be trying too much here. Position is not good. Trevor Gould's had a look. And he's not playing his bowl.
So now we see whether we can, I think they called it a draw probably, the
Draw
way they
end.
came up with that. So the first bowl of end number 17. The second drawn end of the match, with each team having a bowl touching the kitty.
And the Australians throwing another long end here, and Jeff Davis has drawn to the kitty.
This is the men's triples at the Henselite Trophy, the Trans-Tasman Test Match. Indoor bowls, New Zealand against Australia. Richard Mason and Trevor Rayner with you from the Pukekohe Cosmopolitan Club in the Counties Indoor Bowling Centre. Wonderful venue here. We've got 6 mats down for this particular event. They're going to hold the Nationals here next year. They're going to put 90 mats down. It's a wonderful facility, this big indoor bowling floor that we're on now, which they can put about 30 on if they squeeze them all together. And then over the other side there's an undercover rink for outdoor bowls, and they just remove the outdoor bowls cover from that and lay a whole bunch more indoor mats down. And further down there's some 10-pin bowling lanes. So that's all in one building.
Way down through the yellows.
Across the way there's the Cosy Club itself with the restaurant and bars and snooker.
Australia have made a very good start to this head. Though Josh Teague wasn't happy with his last bowl, he felt it was just a tad short, but they're probably holding 3 shots here. Gary Fluitt looking to play the split.
Fluitt's in fine form at the moment.
And perfect.
Applause all round.
That's changed the complexion of the head. It's wide open to draw, but from 3 down to 1 up. Excellent result.
That's the nature of this game of indoor bowls. it changes very often, bowl by bowl. The head changes, the score changes, the complexion of the match changes.
Good shot down there, mate.
Left it out wide, and although he got the nudge in, it wasn't what he was looking for, and he's unhappy with himself.
Yeah, that hand tends to hold and get a little bit wide, and left hung out to dry.
Horns held out there too.
That's good.
So that may have snuck in. The most open head we've had for a while.
This match just going past the 2-hour mark now. This is end 17 of 21.
And he's drawn it.
And the Australian skip, Chris Dudman, has had some moments to remember in this game. And he's had some moments he won't want to remember as well. His opposite number here, Trevor Gould, most of the moments he'll remember have been good ones. He's played some splendid shots. That won't go down in history as one of them. You could see what he was trying to do, but he didn't quite have the weight on the bowl to do it. That leaves Dudman with the chance to do much the same thing. Use the New Zealand bowl that's to the right of the kitty. And he's just going to come straight down.
You're a little bit tentative there,
Might not be a bad blocker though.
but it's got one in Trevor Gould's eye. But Trevor, I suspect, is looking at the plant on the backhand here, whether they want to take that risk at this stage.
No,
That's a shot he's looking at.
he's playing the backhand. They're up by 6. A couple here will just about close out the game.
And he's played a beautiful ball.
Look at that. A round of applause.